If you were to have a conversation with a zebra, um, I have those frequently, and you were to suggest to Mr. Zebra that he might want to motivate himself. Um, I I imagine him being curious to understand what you're saying and wondering what this thing is that you're calling himself and how the thing that you're calling himself is any different than he is. Hence, if you spend time talking to penguins and zebras and muskrats and things such as that, I believe they'll have a hard time following the conversation if you're suggesting that they do this thing to themselves. And I'm not thinking that these other life forms are thinking that there is a thing called self that's any different from them. And I believe what happened is, as our human mind became significantly more advanced than other creatures, like from what I understand, penguins didn't build London and camels didn't build airplanes. As our human mind became much more advanced, as it was becoming more advanced, it had to continue doing what it was doing previously to becoming more advanced. So what's it doing, for a zebra? Well, it's taking care of things like circulation, respiration, digestion. And those things aren't stagnant. They're moving up and down, fitting what zebra's doing at that moment. So when the zebra is running up a hill, I believe mind of zebra processing what's going on then causes zebra's heart to beat faster so that the necessary blood containing nutrients and oxygen reach the zebra's legs. So our minds, of course, do that. And then as they became more advanced, that had to continue. So she couldn't really say, well, today I won't be worrying about circulation because today I'm going to be focusing on learning algebra. So the circulation thing had to continue. And that could continue unconsciously because we're not consciously beating our hearts. So then a more advanced component of mind built, connected with, but separate from this more primitive part of the mind is free to learn algebra or whatever. So I I think that if you speak to your friends and you say words like conscious and unconscious or subconscious, that your friends will pretty much understand what you're talking about. So if you say, well, I don't think I did it consciously, you're not going to hear somebody respond with, the hell are you talking about? They kind of get it. But as much as people get it, when we say conscious, unconscious, there are words people say much more, I find, that refers to these various facets of mind. And the word that I hear people use to refer to more advanced component of mind, where there's consciousness, is the word I. And then it seems that everything else is referred to using the word self. And hence, you're hearing people say things like, I am trying to calm myself down, as if self and her are kind of like separate. And I think they are. I think that the component that people identified with called I is different than the rest, called self. Making our human minds, I believe, much more complicated, much more complicated, and much more prone to dysfunction and all kinds of errors. And I think these two components of mind that people think of as I and self are viewing things, seeing the world quite differently. And they don't know what to make of each other, causing all kinds of confusion. I mean, you hear people say, I'm going through this process so that I can really learn who I am. Again, I mean, imagine a duck doing that. So lots of folks are out there looking to calm themselves, control themselves, and then they're often so confused by that they may end up interfacing with people doing coaching or people in the mental health industry, and there they might actually hold on to your seats. They might actually be told that in order to progress, that it's necessary first that you love yourself. Isn't that something? Now, when somebody says, I hate myself, and her therapist says, oh, that will never do, dear. If we're going to get things working for you, you can't be hating yourself. You need to love yourself. So you need to love what you hate in order to make progress. That seems pretty daunting to me. I mean, it's hard enough if you hate somebody to maybe kind of get over hating them. You have to climb an even higher hill to take the people you hate and fall in love with them. But we're being told that that's a requirement, that that's something necessary to do. And The news I would share with you is I don't think so. I don't think you need to be attempting to love yourself. And when somebody tells you they hate themselves anyway, and if you really kind of get into the weeds with that person and say, I mean, what is this thing that you're thinking of as yourself that's different from you that you hate? And I think it's likely that he probably has been hating how he feels. And if he's been hating how he feels, he's probably been really feeling badly. And if we tell somebody who's really feeling badly and hates feeling bad that they have to love feeling bad in order to start to feel good, I think we end up creating a mess. And hence, I believe that wonderful people who are putting their hearts and minds into looking to improve their lives find themselves in situations where this expert that he's paying is telling him to do things that are pretty close to impossible and completely unnecessary. Because all these other creatures that seem to be doing significantly better than humans recently don't seem to be bothering to do that at all. I'm thinking of an eagle, and she's just soaring, I mean, she's got this thing down. I mean, she's got it. I mean, she's like laying on top of air, being transported as she lays on the air. I mean, she barely has to move her wings. She just kind of holds them out there and figures she's some kind of kite. And what a cool thing that is. But she's getting pretty hungry. Yet there's a rabbit down there. And she sees rabbit. I think her mind instantly calculates how fast would that rabbit go? How fast can I go? How far am I? I mean, I don't think she takes out a calculator, but all that's like precisely calculated or calculated just about instantly. And from that, she decides, you know what? I think I'll do it. I don't think she thinks she's going to do it, actually. She'll just be doing it. Or if it doesn't seem like it's going to be successful, she ain't going to be doing it. But imagine she'd been seeing some clinical social worker for advice on how to deal with herself. And now she's pretty hungry and she's sailing up there and she sees this rabbit and she's really hungry and her mind calculates this fast, this far. And then she remembers her last therapy session and says, whoops, I don't want to be pissing off my social worker. I got to remember to start loving on myself before I go chasing that rabbit. And so she does what she's told and gives herself, a whole bunch of love hugs. Can you picture the eagle doing that? She's just wrapping her rings around herself and feeling so good about being who she is. And then she like comes out of that and she goes, whoa, I sure did get some good loving from myself here. But what the hell happened to the rabbit? So that's a question, man. If we're busy loving ourselves, how are we going to catch rabbits? So I have found that people I've met with who transformed what's been going on for them and moved from fearful lives to joyful lives, who moved from creativity, moved from turmoil and resentment to creativity and excitement. And we are seeing that happening over and over and over because we kind of like know what button to push to get this mind functioning in a better way. But I can assure you that I'm never suggesting that the way forward is to start loving on yourself. I mean, think about it.